All right, guys, we are 2-1. We're above 500. My dad and I were just talking right off stream there. For the first time in 84 weeks is the stat they showed. We are above 500, guys. The Browns are 2-1. We took care of business in the two games that we had to take care of business, right, to really make this a thing and make this thing happen, right? And so far, we're winning games we're supposed to be winning, right? Dad, what do you think?
Yeah, that's unbelievable. I thought, we were in control. I didn't like the way the game started. We were very lackluster on offense.
Yeah.
Got behind 7, but then got the field goal, which was good, and then got the lead, and really never relinquished the lead after that. But really disappointed in Baker. After we got the ball back, and we're only up by a little bit, and he takes that intentional grounding penalty. He's got to get rid of the ball. He's got to realize you can't win a game with one play, but you certainly can lose a game and change the whole momentum of a game by taking a sack in that situation. And sure enough, they punted the ball. It was an average punt. They ran right down our throats, and it looked like the whole momentum of the game had changed. And luckily, Baker was able to turn it around.
Yeah.
But I hope he learns from that, and the coaches, get on him. You got to get rid of the ball. You cannot take throw it away. And he held it so long trying to make something happen at the end of the play.
Yeah.
And he's lucky he threw it underhand.
That underhand thing.
Yeah. Terrible.
Yeah, I was saying that because Lindsay and I were watching it. I'm like, it's not only that it was a grounding, because he had a chance to throw it out. He actually cocked his hand back and then took it back down, and then was getting tackled and flung it up. Right?
Sure.
I mean, that's some Brandon Weeden level crap right there. I mean, that was dangerous.
That's a way to lose a game that you should win. I mean, God forbid we lost the game with 5 turnovers and we got 21 or maybe 28 points on turnovers. It was, we had to do what we had to do, and it was good. But I don't know how many times Baker threw the ball. But luckily at the end, our ground game came through again.
Yeah.
Those 2 sweeps to the left. I don't know if it was Teller who was leading it from the right side, pulled. And he blocked the same guy, 29, both times. One time Chubb got in, and he got the other one. He got down, and that one-handed grab that Chubb made, that was spectacular.
Unbelievable. I mean, and that's the thing. Like Chubb, the touchdown that he caught too, right? I mean, he's so skilled, right? He's so skilled that it's just great that we have a guy like that,
Yeah.
So it's that one-handed catch was amazing. All the turnovers, and we're taking turnovers and turning them into points.
Yeah.
Right, and not only points but touchdown points, big points.
These are not Greedy Williams and Ward making these interceptions. These are the guys that are stepping up from the defense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so we had a lot of breaks go our way. Let's think about that for a second.
Oh yeah.
We had the first interception that fumbled, and then Thomas. That guy Thomas I get why he's on the field right now.
Yeah.
He's a hustler. He made some great tackles, and then getting the securing that fumble was huge, right? So that was a big play. Then we had a couple plays for Washington. They caught a couple. One was the guy caught it out of bounds randomly. Right. The one catch that hit the ground, right, that they called back on them, which is a really good call. Thank God they did that.
The wide receiver who pushed off a little bit.
Right, that, I mean, and which was like a questionable push off, and he was even upset about that, right?
Right.
So pushes off, and that turns into an interception right after that. And then Miles going around I feel like Miles has a gear that when he knows it's going to be a pass and he has that sense for when it's coming, he turns on that gear and he can get to the quarterback, and he did. And not only does he get to him, he strips the ball and bounces right back up to him for a forced fumble recovery sack.
Yeah, that was the game right there.
Unbelievable. Yeah, he sealed it. And then Ron Rivera not using the timeouts.
I don't get that at all. That is going against such conventional wisdom through the years. You're down 2 scores.
Right.
And then even at the end, he didn't even try.
Right.
He just handed it off twice and said the game is over. And if I was a Redskin fan, I would be really, really upset with him.
Does he not know that he's playing the Browns and that we can easily let teams come back and win with a minute left? The Bengals made it within an onside kick of making it a game last week.
Right. And they could have too. They could have went down the field, scored. We would have been in a prevent defense.
Yeah.
Giving him stuff underneath. You use your timeouts. You get the ball back, and then you try an onside kick. But
unbelievable.
He didn't want to. He was worried about getting players hurt. Well, guess what? You got to trot them out there next week, and they're going to play a whole game again.
Yeah,
they get hurt next week. I mean, come on.
I mean that to me was, I would have been frustrated because it's like you're not even trying, right? That to me is, I was like, when it got down to 4, under 6 minutes, I'm like, well, 6 minutes, let's see. And then when the Browns had that holding call, where it brought us back and it was 1st and 10, then it was 2nd and 16, something like that. I'm like, this is where you should be calling your timeouts, because we're obviously not trying to score here. We're just trying to kick the field goal. Use the timeout, secure the stuff. Unless he doesn't have any confidence in his offense, which, I mean, admittedly, his offense did turn the ball over a whole bunch of times, but he just threw in the towel, right? That was very odd. Very, very odd.
Yeah, they got to rip him this week for that. That's just poor coaching. You wonder, he's taking chemotherapy in the morning before he goes to practice and stuff. That's got to have a big effect. He should turn over the reins and let somebody. It's a very stressful job to begin with, and then to be able to manage a game, on game day, when you got doctors monitoring you and so forth. I mean, I give the guy a lot of credit, but the
taking IVs and stuff.
Take him out.
Yeah, I mean, I remember thinking that. I'm like, man, he's out there in the heat and everything like that, just doing this. But hey, we got some guys in chat. I want to say what's up to Coral Ross, Gary Washington. What's going on? Isaiah Garcia, Kovakova, Superfax. We have Kyle Lew's in the house. Max Nikolenko, some of the old school guys. Isotropic Thunder, Matt White. What's going on? I'm watching. We're monitoring the chat as well. I'm happy for everybody to get here. We're going to do 2 giveaways today. We're going to do a homage t-shirt giveaway, and we're also going to do a Sabo apparel t-shirt giveaway, just like this one. This is the Ski Cleveland one, Cleveland Ski Club, right? So you can have one of these cool shirts from Sabo Apparel, who've been nice enough to hook us up with some giveaways, so we love them. And then also Tim. So we got some other very happy sponsors as well. So everybody who's coming up, all the little sponsor things that go up there, right above the Washington football team as they go through. And then join us on Patreon if you want to help us do more giveaways and stuff like that. We got some of the Patreon guys here, try to communicate with you guys, give you guys some sneak previews. Tim Ali Realty up there, like hook him up if you're looking for any of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, really, really good stuff, guys. So hook us up, help us out with the sponsors and the people. We're going to do some cool giveaways here as well. So I want to say thanks to everybody, Sabre Apparel, Homage, Tim Ali Realty, all those guys. So they help us out. All right. And also, if you're not a subscriber, subscribe and also hit the like button. We got all the people in here. Hit the like button. If you do that on the video right now, it helps us trend higher. And it helps get us more concurrent viewers and all that kind of stuff. So hit that button. All right, guys. So it was really interesting. If I'm looking back at the game itself, it was funny. Cleveland Cam was on here, and and he was saying, he's like, hey, I called it. I think we're going to win between 10 and 14 points. So he came real close there. And I was calling it, I think I said 30 to 20 right around that time. And when we went down 17 to 20, right, when we went down to that, I was like, I still feel like we had 2 bad drives that turned into points for them, right? And then I was like, I still feel like we have enough to like turn it back on here and do it. And those 17 unanswered points in the fourth quarter, we had a big second. So we had 17 points in the second and 17 points in the fourth. We didn't score in the first or the third, right? So that was the tail of the game. And then they had the opposite. They only scored in the first and the third, and they scored 7 and 13. So we just did it when we had to. Dwayne Haskins with 3 interceptions, and that fumble that was a turnover there. So he had 4 turnovers. Really got to him. Baker threw 23 times. Remember I said, like, let's keep him to throwing under 20 times.
Yeah.
There was 23 times, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Really good, efficient game. As we said, there were a couple knucklehead plays there that he's got to get better. Right? But you got to do stuff like that. Nick Chubb going over 100 yards, Kareem Hunt putting it down with 46 yards on the ground, and then also two catches, 1 for a touchdown. Odell Beckham with 4 catches, 59 yards. Very quiet day for Odell, very quiet day for Jarvis. Austin Hooper started off with a couple big plays, boom, 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 and then kind of went quiet after that. So he hasn't really turned it on yet. Harrison Bryant got that second touchdown in the end zone. So that was his 1 catch for 3 yards. He got a touchdown. Really, really, really good all-around effort statistically for the Browns. Even though Baker didn't light it up with 156 yards, the 2 touchdowns. Again, I'm happy we get away with a win, but I will tell you that I think the one thing that made me nervous about this is the Bengals weren't a good team and they played us tough. The Redskins aren't a good team either. Washington football team, whatever. Even the announcers were saying the Redskins, right? I don't know if you caught that, but they're not a good team either. And we still kind of made it a game. The only one interesting thing about this is we went from giving up 38 points to 30 points to 20 points. So we're tracking well in terms of our defense in points, points given up. So let's see if we can give up under 20 points next game against the Cowboys, which would be fantastic. But I do think we are feast or famine here, feasting on the teams that aren't good, that are not playoff teams, and we're famining so far against the Ravens. We'll see with the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are a pretty good team. They've got a tough matchup going on pretty soon here against the Seahawks. So this is going to be the real test now. I think we passed the first test, meaning we didn't do well against the Ravens, which is kind of expected, and then we beat the Bengals, we beat the Washington, so we got both of them out of the way. Now it's going to go back to how do we play against teams that are playoff quality teams, the Cowboys, possibly the Colts, the Steelers, right? Before we get the Bengals again in Cincinnati. So that's the next test.
These 3 games we got killed by Baltimore, and then we beat 2 teams that we should have beat. And one of our chat guys says that those are games that we typically have lost in the past.
Correct, right.
So we win those. And now if we didn't lose anybody to any injuries that I'm aware of, and maybe we get some healthy guys back, and we're in prime time for Dallas. It'll be a good game. We'll be competitive. But Prescott is no Haskins. I mean, he will light us up, I think, and that's my biggest concern. And if he doesn't do it, having Ezekiel Elliott run on you is no fun either. So I mean, I don't know if we match up well against Dallas because of those 2 things. Our offense has got to be on the top of its game, and the defense has got to show up and catch a turnover, knock a pass down.
Or 6. How many turnovers did we have today? We had 3 interceptions. We had that 1 extra fumble recovery at the end of the second half. It was technically it was a turnover.
Well, because it was third and 5 or whatever. And the Browns have got all 3 timeouts. Mm-hmm. They know they're not going to get the ball in the second half. So why not use at least one timeout to stop the clock so that if you stop them, you've got plenty of time to to go down and kick a field goal. No, they don't do that.
I think
And
they were
then,
probably happy being up 17-7, and they're like, let's just go in. Let's go in. Let's not press our luck here.
I guess, but as it turned out, the guy fumbles on the last play that the Redskins have it, and because there's no time on the clock, we don't even get a chance to kick a field goal. So I mean, it's that one bothered me. Another one that bothered me that nobody commented on, and you have to go back and look at the tape because they showed it on the replay, but it was away from the play when Baker threw that touchdown to, I guess it was Bryant.
Yeah.
He obviously he was wide open, and Baker made a nice throw. But if you looked at the left side of the screen, Wills was against a defensive guy, and the defensive guy rushed him and pushed his hand up into his face. And at the very end, just as Baker let it go, the guy pushed even harder and took Will's helmet
off. Wow.
And
I didn't see that. I didn't catch that. That should have been illegal hands to the face then.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But it didn't matter. We got the touchdown. So you're right. We had a lot of breaks go our way. Good kicking.
I was going to say the other thing. We're executing. I mean, Parkey hit that 42-yard field goal, right, and made all the extra points. We got a kicker who's executing, and I mean, I'm still not super I don't have the Phil Dawson feelings yet, where I'm just like it's automatic, but I do like the fact that we're executing. Today was the first game where I feel that we did not fail in special teams. We had decent punt coverage. I don't think they returned a kick. The Parkey.
I think we lost the guy who was our kickoff returner, Watson.
Did he get injured?
Watson who's the other guy?
I know who you're talking about, but did he get injured?
Yeah, they took him out and they put
it's Natson. Yeah.
Yeah, they put Johnson Natson in to get the last kickoff.
Interesting. Well, DeErnest gets him on the field too, because I mean, you never know if Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt goes down,
Yeah,
DeErnest is gonna. Yeah. But I got to tell you, like, how crazy is it? Last year, for the majority of the year, or first 8 games, half the year, it was Chubb, and then backing it up was DeErnest Johnson, and there's a big difference in terms of threat when you have you go from Nick Chubb to DeErnest Johnson, right? Now you're going from Nick Chubb to Kareem Hunt, and depending upon the situation, if it's a passing situation, Kareem Hunt gives us probably a much better chance because he's a very good athletic receiving running back as well. Not to say that I don't think that Nick Chubb isn't a good receiver though. He's just not as. And then I say that Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt drops the ball that hits him literally in the numbers on that first drive.
Right.
That first drive was really frustrating to me too because it was like. You're going, you're moving the ball. We have the false start, which brings us back, right? And then we couldn't execute off of that. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, you know what? These are the sorts of things this is what bad teams do to themselves. They beat themselves. And I still don't think that we're over the hump on that, right? But it was better, right? I think the Redskins today, if you turn the ball over, I'm not going to say like the 5 times, that last one at the end of the first half, I don't really count. But the 4 times they turn the ball over and we turn them into points every time. And, those are drive killing plays. You can't lose a game turning the ball over 4 times. You can't win a game if you're losing the ball 4 times on drives and then giving up points in the back end of it. Right. So
and your best defensive player goes out at the half and never comes back. And then they lost their best receiver, the guy who caught 2 touchdowns on us.
Yeah.
Again, he taunting in the end zone results in a 15-yard penalty on the kickoff. We had good field position and we're able to come down and score. So I mean, these guys, they think they've won the Super Bowl when they make one catch and they wind up hurting their team to the extent that it comes back to haunt them and they lose the game. It just they have to understand that even the Browns were celebrating on those interceptions, where they were.
Yeah, those like interception, like big team, everybody come together and for the photo op thing, like the 49ers did in the Super Bowl. right? I
Yeah,
mean,
the Jets did
to me,
against
it's like,
us.
dude,
They come back
guys,
to haunt you. They come back to haunt you.
yeah, we could lose that. Like, that is the most cringy thing, that the 49ers ended up losing that game after having that big, like, look at us moment as a defense, and then they just
Right.
flopped. I guess people should have learned from that, but they like to do it. It's a team thing, and they don't get that many turnovers. I mean, the Browns haven't had any interceptions till this game, and walk away with, 3 of them, right? So Malcolm Smith with an interception, which was
Mhm.
he had a great interception, by the way. Just waiting for Haskins, just read his eyes the whole way. That's the only thing Malcolm Smith did all game. He didn't have a tackle, didn't have assist. He had 1 interception. We'll take it, dude.
Right.
I'll take that over anything else. Sacks, Myles Garrett with 2. Sheldon Richardson with a big sack, too. Sheldon Richardson is quietly having a very impactful year, along with Larry Ogunjobi as well, who didn't get credit for any of the sacks today, but still had some very disruptive plays, which I've been saying all along. Larry Ogunjobi is he's going to be that quiet guy who's going to have a very, very good year. Happy about Sheldon Richardson. It would be nice if we could get Olivier Vernon healthy.
Right.
It would be nice if we could get Greedy Williams healthy again. And then he had that play with Denzel Ward on the first touchdown that they threw, where Denzel not only dropped an interception, it wasn't like he dropped. I mean, that wide receiver made a great play at it, like on the ball to knock it out of Denzel's hands. But nonetheless, he didn't execute on that interception, and then gives up the touchdown. So it was like Denzel didn't have a good drive there. But nonetheless, I don't think he's been feeling very well. He was doubtful. He was questionable all week. Didn't even practice on Friday. So he toughed it out. So I want to say thanks to Denzel for doing that. Well played. But all in all, the score, I think, wasn't as intuitive as the game. Like, you look at 34-20, you think that, we must have blown him out. And it wasn't necessarily the case. The fourth quarter, we played an extremely good closing fourth quarter again, and I'm really happy with the Browns for doing that.
Yeah, Baker redeemed himself. Could have very easily. Remember, I tweeted you during the middle of the game where one of the drives that we got our ears, pressed back on. I thought Baker was due to throw an interception. He was due to force one in there and try to win the game. And luckily, he didn't do that. Luckily, the guys, made the catches they need to make. They got open. And he didn't throw too many bad passes. I think he missed 1 or 2 opportunities. And in the early part of the game, they ran a play to the left side with a guy going through the backfield and going around to the right side, and he was wide open. And the announcers are saying, "I hope the Browns coaches pick up on that and run that play later on, because the guy was wide open." I never saw that play again. So,
right.
The announcers see stuff that sometimes the coaches never see.
Yeah, well, even who was it Spielman who was out there? Who was one of the announcers today? Was it Chris Spielman?
No. Oh yeah, Chris Spielman. Yeah.
Yeah, Spielman. So he called it in the beginning. He's like, "Hey, look, if you, that one running play off to the right, if Nick Chubb cuts this one back, he's got a big lane there." And I'm like, Nick Chubb's not going to cut that back. That's a huge cut back. Right. And then what does he do? They probably saw the same thing, and they're like, "Dude, Nick, cut back. You have a big
that's
hole
his
there."
game. That is, and Hunt too, for that matter. They make those cutbacks in tight quarters, and when you do that, and all the momentum is going one way, those linemen have a hard time readjusting.
Yeah.
And then you're through, and he's so fast that he gets through those gaps. But the 2 runs, the 2 sweeps to the left side, were just classic Chubb, in your face, really quality runs that sealed the game for us.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it was a good win. It's a good, solid win for the Browns, and I'm happy about that. Happy about the win. I got a little nervous when we go through that mid-game lull, right? So the second and third quarter lull that happens, especially if we're winning, right? We have to continue to be able to put our foot on the gas, and I think a lot of teams struggle with this as well. It's not just us. When you get up by a couple scores, you know, not only do we not have the incentive to push really hard, but then the other team is trying to push really hard to move forward, right? So, and that's when bad things can happen because we're going to be more risk averse, and they're going to be more risk taking in order to get back in the game. So, good things happen sometimes. Good sometimes they don't, right? So, all in all.
We won a game that we were supposed to win, and we won it.
Cheers to that.
But, not really sloppily or anything. Like you said, we had a great fourth quarter. We had, Miles had enough gas in him to, to finish the game off. He looks like he's out of breath. Before the half is over, he goes 1,000%.
Yeah,
and your battery gets run down. If they spared him a little bit more, maybe he wouldn't be so gassed. But everybody did a good job. The defense stepped up when it had to, made some big interceptions, as opposed to stopping them on the ground. I mean, the defensive line let a lot of, I don't know how many yards they got on the ground on us, but you give that to the Dallas offense, and we got a real problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think so. I was texting with Ristano the whole game too. I think me and Ristano might be the two most cynical Browns fans about anything, and probably me more than Mike. Like anything that happens during a Browns game, I get angry. I don't know what it is. Like it just I get so upset. I sometimes have to leave the room. So for the third interception. The one from God, who was the third interception from? It was
Smith.
No, it was with Goodson. I was going to call him Gooden. So Goodson, well, his interception. I actually went downstairs, got myself a drink, and Lindsay's upstairs, and I hear her go, "Oh!" And I ran upstairs, and I see the interception. I was like, you got to yell for me. If there's an interception, you got to be like, come back upstairs, yell. But so anyway, me and Ristano are texting the whole time during the game, and I'm like, man, if we could just put this thing together, right, and just put solid drives together and leave our foot on the gas all 4 quarters, we have a very good team. But sometimes our defense seems like it gets soft all of a sudden. It's just strange. Doesn't it seem weird that all of a sudden we seem like we have the most pedestrian, easily walk down our throat defense, and then other times we're catching interceptions, we're stripping the ball out of guys' hands, like we're putting pressure on the quarterback. So I think the identity of this defense has not emerged quite yet, and I think everybody's still getting used to each other. But it is something to build upon, right? And it's good.
It could have been a lot worse. I mean, the fact that they let them back in the game after Baker's bad decision, that came back to haunt him, but he held up well, and the defense, they did what they needed to do when they needed to do it. A guy like Brady will pick you apart short, whereas Haskins tried to force it in there too many times. And a couple of the interceptions were bad. The first one was well overthrown over the guy's head.
Yeah, he sailed it. Yeah.
So,
and the second one where that Malcolm Smith did, I mean, he just read his eyes the entire way. I didn't really get a good look at the B.J. Goodson one because, I came up and watched the replay of that, so I'll have to go back and see that one. It looked like he made a really good play on it. But yeah, I mean, it looked to me like if Haskins had those open, the little dink and dunks. They appear to be open most of the game.
Right.
Maybe that's what we saw on tape too. We're like, hey, let's give him the short stuff and build up his confidence, so he starts throwing those medium and long passes. We could just play center field and wait for him to sail one, and he did. Maybe that's what it was. But he like Haskins. If you look at this game, this is not a good game for him. 21 for 37, 224, 2 interceptions, or 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The 2 touchdowns were nice, but he also missed a couple guys in the end zone. He missed a couple guys short.
What I was a little bit disappointed in as well is I don't think we blitzed.
Hardly at all.
Hardly at all. I mean, every time I saw the lineup and I saw 4 down linemen, and then the linebackers backing off, and no corners coming up.
Mhm.
I'm thinking, why aren't you putting more pressure on him, especially up the middle in his face, where rookie quarterbacks and inexperienced quarterbacks make huge mistakes? Now, granted, he threw some bad passes,
Yeah.
but for some reason, whoever was calling the defensive plays, they didn't call very many blitzes at all. I bet you it's under 4, and at, various points of the game where it was more obvious than others. But I wish they had put more pressure up the middle on them. You can get burned. You're stuck with man-on-man coverage probably, and you got to step up and make the plays. Um, and but there's such big rewards if you get in his face, and
Yeah.
in terms of stopping the play, knocking it down, interception, fumble, tip ball, you name it. I mean, Miles Garrett hanging on to Haskins by his undershirt, not even his jersey, on a third down play.
Yeah, gosh.
And he had the first down right in his sights. He only
Good
had to go another 5 yards.
hand strength.
Yeah, and he just held on to him until Richardson came over and finished him off.
Oh.
So it's really
It looks
a
like
game of inches sometimes, and it's a game of huge big plays. We didn't give any really big plays up, and maybe we were just playing a little bit too soft. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe because of the talent we had on the field.
Yeah, it was. I was looking in chat and I lost it. I don't see where it is now. But it looks like Superfax say Cincy and Philly might actually tie. 2 minutes left at overtime.
Right.
Bengals have the ball at their own 14, second and 16, 23-23. That would be interesting. Philadelphia is just in shambles.
Came back and beat the Falcons. So the Falcons have got. If I was their head coach, I'd be looking for another job.
Yeah, that's scary.
3 in a row.
The freaking Steelers beat the Texans.
Right.
The Texans are 0-3.
The Titans came back and beat the Vikings.
Oh, did they? I didn't see that one.
The Vikings were winning. The Bills fell behind with 2 minutes to go to Los Angeles.
Oh, the Bills won that game. Okay.
But the Bills came back and won it. So you made a good pick there, Mike, at the end.
Yeah, well, that's me and Ristano. We're actually texting about that, and Josh Allen is turning into quite a quarterback in the NFL, and he has developed the body. The body on him. He's got the Roethlisberger size and thickness, and he's got the arm strength, and it's turning into something. Now he's got, he's got some good receivers with Stephon Diggs out there, Cole Beasley. Right. I mean, he's got good guys. And I actually found a message. I found a reply that I put on Reddit 2 years ago saying that Josh Allen looked really good in his opening game, and he could be a scary guy if he develops. And it looks like Josh Allen could be the real deal. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. The Bills are what? Are the Bills 3-0? Okay.
Yeah.
Bills are 3-0. 49ers 2-1.
The Bears are 3-0 now.
Bengals have it 4th and 23 at their own 7-yard line now. So they're going to give the Eagles the ball back with decent field position in overtime there. So that'll be an interesting one to watch. We've got Bears. The Patriots took care of the Raiders today. Who did we pick in that one?
We didn't pick the Raiders.
Okay, so we picked the Patriots. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was one because I knew the Bills game was one that I didn't like, and there was another one. I think it might have been the Patriots one. I was like, I don't feel as strong about that. But the Bills at home with LA flying there, and the Bills are pretty good. I was like, I feel pretty confident. Bills play well at home. A lot of just in the NFL in general, home teams typically win. They typically do pretty well. So Cowboys are up 3-0. Colts and Jets are going to be interesting too because they're both pretty average teams that we play this year. So it'll be interesting to watch that one. But let's do a t-shirt giveaway, guys. Type 1 to 100 now for homage. Go. Okay, I got my number in. I'm not looking at you guys' number. Be ready to hit enter when it looks like everybody has responded. So this will be for the homage T-shirt. Still possibility of me getting one of those jackets as well, and we'll have to decide what we're gonna do with that. Looking at the stats for the game too, interestingly enough, Washington actually beat us total yards 309, beat us total passing 206 to 142. Rushing, we beat them 158 to 103. Yards per play, they beat us. I'm interested in the penalties. Penalties weren't bad, 6 for 50.
Yeah.
And it was one. Honestly, you take away the Denzel Ward late hit out of bounds.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Which was dumb. And then the holding penalty at the very end, which was kind of a garbage time penalty. We really didn't do well that bad in penalties. So I like where we're trending in terms of penalties and discipline.
Yeah, two false starts on Wills.
Yeah.
One was in a bad, 1st and 10, and all of a sudden now we're 1st and 15, and we're not doing well. And then I think Baker right after that did his grounding, trying to do too much.
Yeah.
And so those two were bad penalties. But other than that, you're right. Time of possession, we probably beat them in time of possession, right?
Time of possession. 33 minutes to 26 minutes.
Yeah.
We did. And they had 2 fumbles, technically 2 fumbles, really just 1, and then there's 3 interceptions. We didn't turn the ball over 1 time. Other than 3rd down, we were 5 for 14 on 3rd down, which is not good enough. Interestingly, how about that? We were 1 for 1 on 4th down, and then we also got the guy to jump on that 4th and 4.
Yeah, that was big too.
Oh my God! I mean I can't. That never happens, and when it does, it happens against the Browns. Like we false start on it,
right,
and make it a longer field goal, or we're on defense and we're the ones who jump, right? As ridiculous as that is. All right, I'm gonna hit the button now. Bam. Whoops. Sweet. All right, so the number was 88, and Maxwell Gamer just jumps in there at the end. You're not getting the shirt from Homage, dude. You're not getting it. Although you were I think you were the closest. We have Junior Tart with a 74. Junior Tart with a 74. You win. Junior Tart wins. Junior, send me an email to browniepostgame@gmail.com, and we'll get you squared away with how to get your homage t-shirt. So browniepostgame@gmail.com. And we still have one more giveaway, guys. So stick with us here for a little bit, so we can do that one too. Big thanks to Tim Ali. Big thanks to Sabo. Big thanks to Homage. Like, these guys help us out. Make sure you hit the like button. We got everybody in here. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Help us grow. Help the Brownie Post. Help us help you, right? So as we continue to grow, we do more giveaways. The Browns happen to be winning this year, which is good. Yay. 2-1, baby. Imagine if we go to Dallas and win. We go to Dallas.
That truly would be a nice victory. Then I could, stick a feather in my hat and say we had a nice, unexpected. We're not going to be favored to win that game. We covered the point spread on 7 points.
Yeah, you're right. We did on this game. We covered it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was really. I mean,
Pittsburgh they weren't gonna make us 14 points. They're gonna give us that many. Not the Browns.
But you lose your best defensive player, who really wasn't a factor. I never really saw him in the backfield all that much in the first half. I think he was hurting before he even started. So
I wonder, are we 14 points better than Washington?
Sure.
At full strength, based off the way that Dwayne Haskins played today. Dwayne Haskins got to be careful because, if Washington, anybody who's in a top 5 position draft wise, there's some quarterbacks coming out. You got Justin Fields, you got Trevor Lawrence, you got the kid from University of Florida. who ended up throwing 3 touchdowns in his first start. You
I
got
think
some
they took
kids.
Trubinsky out of the Chicago game and put Foles in, and Foles threw 3 touchdowns, including the last one to win the game. So I think Trubinsky is done in
See ya, Mitch.
Chicago.
Yeah, and they moved up to get him.
Yeah,
I think they moved up to get him the year that Pat Mahomes was in the draft.
mm-hmm.
You know, we took Miles, which you couldn't. Miles is a freak. You couldn't have taken a guy like he had the best measurables in the combine history. You can't not at a critical edge position. And look, today, thank God we had him. Right, he sealed the game for us for that sack / fumble recovery. Right, but yeah, that's tough for Chicago because I don't think they have a bad team. They've got some weapons, they got some players, they got a decent defense. It's just that they don't have a quarterback that really
the Vikings,
is all that good.
Vikings let them in. I don't know what the Vikings did, but obviously Kirk Cousins, we'll have to look up his stats and see what he did. But they blew that game. The Bills were up big.
Yeah.
The Titans were losing to whatever.
Oh, my friend Corey's got to be so mad. He's a Vikings fan, Corey.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams out there and a lot of fans that are got to be really upset with their teams and their coaches.
Well, the Vikings are going
to.
Vikings, if they happen to be in one of those positions, I could see them drafting a quarterback because although they paid Kirk Cousins a ton of money, I think they gave him a ton guaranteed too.
Oh yeah,
they gave him like Tom Brady money to Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
right. And
unbelievable.
Thinking that they were just one player away, one guy can get us there, and they could be in a position next year where they could draft a Trevor Lawrence, something like that. 0-3. I mean, that's the 0-3 is a position that we're very familiar with, where you just know your season's over. And in fact, there was a time today when we went down, 20-17. I sat there and I was like, guys, if we can't win this game, this is it. Like if we can't beat the Washington Redskins with not their full strength, with their Myles Garrett, their version of Myles Garrett, Chase Young is out, right? If we can't beat this team at home when we're full strength, then I just don't. This isn't going to go well, guys. And luckily, we were able to turn it on when we needed to, to get that win. But Steelers are 3-0, Dad. The Steelers are going to be. They're a very quiet 3-0. James Conner rushed for 109 yards and a touchdown. Roethlisberger went 23 for 36 and 237 and 2 touchdowns. So Roethlisberger's having a very Roethlisberger-like year. Those are numbers that he does. 237 with 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Fine. Right, but I think we do match up very well against the Steelers, like we have in the past couple of years here. We match up well. Those are big games that we play up for. So, especially last year after coming off of the 2 wins and 2 wins in the same season against the Steelers is unbelievable. Unfortunately, with that Myles Garrett situation, though. But yeah, those are going to be big games. But if you're looking at the Browns schedule, right? Browns schedule for the rest of the season, we have. I think the Colts are beatable. I think they're a beatable team.
Philly just had a false start trying to kick a 59-yard field goal, which took them. I think it took them out of. There's only 19 seconds left, though.
So they're out of field goal range.
I think so. They would have to be a 60.
Well, this has them at the Cincinnati 41. So 50, 51, 58 yarder.
Yeah, but that was before the false start. I think they pushed them back even further.
Yeah, then that's probably just out of distance.
So it looks like it's going to be a 23-23 tie.
Yeah, because it's 4th down. Unless they go for it.
That would have been a big upset for us in the pick'em because we had Cincinnati winning their first game.
Well, then I guess everybody loses in the pick'em then if they tie, right? Nobody picks a tie.
Yeah, because it just is a non-game, doesn't count.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so anyway, go back to the Browns schedule. Looking ahead to next week with the Cowboys. Cowboys are a beatable team, right? I think they're going to lose today to the Seahawks. I could be wrong, but I think they could lose. They're already down 7-3. I mean, it's early, but still. I don't think they match up well against the Seahawks, and it's in It's in Seattle, which is a very difficult place to play. So I don't think Dallas, like an indoor team, is going to go up there and win that game.
Yeah, they're down 7-3 already in the first quarter.
And if you look at Dallas, so if you really look at them, they lost that first game to the Rams 20-17. Then they barely got past the Falcons on the last minute long field goal, 39-40.
Yeah.
And then they're going to play the Seahawks here. So, the Cowboys aren't, you'd assume that they probably are, they have playoff caliber talent, right? But similarly to the Browns, they got to be able to execute, right? So I think that's going to be a very, very interesting game next week. It's in Dallas, so I'm assuming it's a 4:00 game, right? No, it's a 1:00. It's scheduled for 1:00. Interestingly.
Oh.
So we get a 1:00 game next week against the Cowboys. Then we get a 4:00 game at home, 4:00 game against the Colts.
Yeah, the Colts are beating the Jets 14-7 in the second quarter. So they're handling them quite well.
Yeah, I think the Jets are just awful. The Jets, I don't even know what the answer is for them. They get rid of Jamal Adams and
it was a bad coaching decision, I think. The atmosphere in the locker room was not good. You trade away one of your best defensive players, you let them get away. That's a dumpster fire happening in New York there, that's for sure. And the Giants are no better.
Yeah. Now with Saquon out?
With him out, I thought they would do well. I don't know. I guess Freeman didn't play today, but they were tied, I think, early on, and they even may have gone up like 9-6 or something, and then they just got blown away by a second-string quarterback. Garoppolo wasn't playing,
right?
And that's why I thought maybe at home it would be a good upset if we took the Giants, but they got killed.
Yeah, now if we're watching games in the 4:00 game, as Chris McNeil, Reflog says, we don't have to watch our quarterback, try to sell us insurance after losing a game.
Right.
So yeah. God, I don't mind the corny commercials. I don't mind them, but it really doesn't feel good when you're sitting there watching a guy who just lost the game try to sell you insurance. Although I think the Hulu commercial actually, like Lindsay laughs every time she sees the Hulu commercial with they put the face of Baker on like the scrawny little guy. Yeah. I think that's a creative one. I like that one. Yeah, I mean, guys, we're 2-1. If you look at the standings in the AFC North, okay, so the Bengals are 0-2-1. The Ravens and the Steelers just don't lose football games, so they're undefeated. And
who does Pittsburgh play next week, Mike?
Pittsburgh next week has the Titans in Tennessee.
Oh, that'll be a good game.
Yeah, and the Titans are 3-0, so it's 3-0 versus 3-0. Somebody's gonna win.
The Vikings were dominating them, and then the Titans found a way, like they did, I think last week, found a way to come back and win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I actually started Tannehill this week in my fantasy league because I
won 31 points.
He had 15 for me, which is I have Drew Brees as well, but Drew Brees has only been putting up 15. He doesn't have Michael Thomas, so I was like, let me give Tannehill a shot against Minnesota, and he puts up 15, so he underperformed a little bit, but yeah, I mean, big points from Calvin Ridley. Again, I will say this: he's quietly having an MVP season. Calvin Ridley's doing really, really well. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens. I got to beat Lamar Jackson, Andrew Jones, and Mike Evans. Yeah, I got a somewhat of an uphill battle here. I have a 38% chance of winning, unless Leonard Fournette goes off. So hopefully Leonard Fournette. He doesn't have any points yet against Denver in the middle of the first quarter, so it's not looking good for me.
Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, several teams I wouldn't want to be going into next week. The Falcons, I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to be the Jets. I wouldn't want to be Washington.
Yeah. Well, but I think the Falcons, as bad as they are in terms of like their record, I think they have a redeemable team. Like they have.
Yeah, but it's the way they're losing games. I mean, it just.
Yeah, but look at their division. They've got the Saints, the Buccaneers are both 1-1. right? The Panthers are 0-2, and the Falcons now are 0-3. It's not like they're in the the AFC North where you got the Steelers and the Ravens who are unbeatable, right? Or even the NFC North with the Bears and the Packers, right? At being undefeated. So the Falcons, while yes, it's an uphill battle, I don't know if they'd be in full meltdown yet. Whereas like the Giants would be pretty bad.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't want to be the Giants
I
either.
wouldn't want to be the Eagles either. The Eagles, I don't know what's happening with Carson Wentz, but to tie against the Bengals,
yeah, right.
And I want to say,
and they both had chances in overtime. I mean, they turned the ball back and forth to each other. None of them got within field goal range to kick a field goal, so their defenses held up. But they both had opportunities to win the game in overtime. So,
and it's in Philadelphia.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Joe Burrow goes 31 for 44, 312, and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Joe Burrow is going to be a scary guy.
Yeah, if he gets some support.
Yeah, I think the for the Bengals, it's more about their offensive line and their defense need to get better because Joe Mixon's a good running back, although they only have one. And I think now in the NFL, as we're proving with the Browns, like you really need to have 2 very good running backs. 2 or at least a backup that's serviceable. And I don't think the Bengals today didn't run the ball with anybody other than Joe Mixon the entire day. 17 carries, no other running back got a hand on the ball, which is odd. In terms of the Eagles, dude, Carson Wentz. This is the beginning of the end for Carson Wentz. And I think that the news media is going to have to start recognizing that Carson Wentz is not going to turn into the guy that they are all praying that he would be. And then also admit that Baker Mayfield isn't also the guy that they were hoping he'd be, like some Johnny Manziel dumpster fire Browns quarterback. Like, I think Baker Mayfield today, other than a couple small mental mistakes, right? I don't think. Do you think today that Baker even had one pass that maybe the one pass he probably wanted back was the one that OBJ had to knock out of the defender's hands that he kind of threw? That was the one.
Well, and if he had just a little bit more time, because he threw that ball across his body, which took something off of it, because Odell was going past that guy.
Right.
I mean, he had to come back to knock it down when he saw that the ball wasn't going to get to him, which is a very nice play. Odell Beckham had a very good game. Jarvis Landry was
quiet.
Really, he had a couple of passes early, and then I don't think he caught a pass in the second half.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that
he was a non-factor.
I don't think that the stats break it down like that per quarter or per half like that. But yeah, Jarvis has had a very I'm starting him every week in my fantasy league, thinking he's going to have a breakout game, and today would have been a really nice one to do. 4 catches for 36
Higgins
yards.
was non-existent. He didn't do much.
No, he didn't do much.
Hooper caught a couple early, and then I think I saw him limping around a little bit. He might have, taken a shot. But
yeah, Beckham with 4 catches, Jarvis 4 catches, Hooper with 3, Kareem with 2, Andy Janovich with that one fullback screen play that was really nice. Harrison Bryant with a touchdown. Kareem Hunt caught one as well. I don't remember Kareem Hunt's catch. I guess it was a screenplay. I don't remember that. And then I think Kadarius Hodge was targeted, but he didn't have a catch. Right. So
I don't think Baker made any really bad throws. And clearly none were intercepted. It was just the intentional grounding that he got, got caught on, and that hurt us, and that changed the whole momentum of the game. A better team, even though Washington, they came back and they scored, it gave them the scoring opportunity that they were looking for, but they weren't able to sustain it. Our defense held up and made some nice takeaways.
The turnovers. You're not gonna lose a game when you consistently turn the ball over, and then it was also demoralizing, right? Demoralizing. Oh, yeah. I felt like Dwayne Haskins was trying really hard. He doesn't have a lot of weapons on offense. Let's be honest, guys. He doesn't have his running backs. Antonio Gibson, the rookie. The other guy, Antonio Golden, J.D. McKissick. Peyton Barber. These guys aren't anything. Dontrell Inman, two touchdowns today.
Yeah, but he went
surprising.
out at the end of the game hurt.
Yeah,
So,
because they knocked the ball out of his hands, right?
right.
You know, so you look at it. Logan Thomas, the ex Virginia Tech quarterback, had a pretty decent game, I guess. Four catches, 31 yards, no touchdowns or anything. But I think Logan Thomas, interestingly enough, is turning out to be quite a very decent tight end in the NFL, where he was drafted actually to be a quarterback. And then he went in. I think he was on the Chargers. They tried him for one game. They're like, dude, we can't do this. He ain't a quarterback. And I was talking to my friend Cam yesterday, and he was saying that Logan Thomas, when he was recruited by Virginia Tech, was one. I think he was the top tight end in the country in coming out of high school, and we just didn't have any other quarterback. We saw how big his arm was, and we had a fantastic wide receivers, you know, like the Danny Cole and those guys. And he was just great. He became a good quarterback because he was a giant body, barreling guys over, kind of like a little bit like Quincy Patterson is today. But statistically, a great quarterback in college transitions to, you know, a pretty good tight end in the NFL. But I don't know anybody. He doesn't have any weapons, right? So good game for the Browns altogether. I don't know, guys in chat, give me a yes or no. I just want to see a hand. Yes or no. Do we win in Dallas next week? I just want to gauge chat for the confidence going into Dallas. Now, having taken care of business against the Washington Redskins, taking care of business again against the Bengals, right? Not to forget. How do we feel so far coming in? Ross has a yes. Kova, yes. Nikolenko, maybe. Hambone, yes. Graham, yes, but close. Tart, maybe.
Maybe. What's a maybe?
Maybe. It's not sure. It's not a no. D Flat comes in with a no. Isaiah says yes.
I think we'll be competitive. But then again, we could get blown out. I don't see us blowing them out. So that's off the table. Good thing our kicking game is halfway decent. I think just going in with the expectation that we're not the favorite, we're not supposed to win. We're probably a 6-point dog, maybe a 5.5-point dog.
Well, we'll see what happens in the Seattle game here.
That'll give us motivation to try to win as the underdog. So I'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, and Dallas could be a playoff team, right? They could be. So it'll give us another test against a decent playoff caliber, I'd say caliber team. Doesn't mean that they are going to make the playoffs, but they're a caliber of playoff team. Some other people in there, Gian says, yes, we beat Dallas, good. So a lot of people are saying, yeah. It'd be interesting to see if it's a nationally televised game, like who gets that game, you know? Because it's odd. It's a 1:00 game. Dallas usually plays in the afternoon, so that's an interesting one on there.
They like to put Dallas on TV, so we might get lucky with that one.
Mm-hmm. But now, unfortunately, I got 3 teams in Florida that I got to deal with: the Tampa Bay, Miami, and Jacksonville. So they're going to throw one of them on here. If there's a 1:00 game, so I probably won't get it. But you know, there are ways. There are ways for us to watch football games when we want to. You can just Google it and you find it.
Yeah, the streaming site you sent me was great. It worked right away.
Yeah, I was watching that one, and it was unfortunately only 480p, so it was really fuzzy. So then I tried to do buff stream. Buff stream was down. So then I just Googled it, and Crack Stream had it at like 720 or something like that, and it was just better and it worked. So I mean, the problem here's the deal. The NFL, you're not going to beat the pirating at this point. Pirating exists. It's going to happen. People are going to do it. I was telling Lindsay, I was like, you know what? If the Browns would have if they sell the games a la carte, I'd pay $10 to watch the game. I don't think I'd pay more than $10 to watch it because again, the streaming is pretty decent, right, for free. But if they sold every game for $9.99, I would buy every one. That's and if they're good towards the end of the season, I still want to watch every one of the games, which I'm fairly invested into the Browns, obviously with this YouTube channel and everything like that. So I'll probably continue to watch the games. The only Browns games, by the way, that I don't watch or that I stop watching are when the team gives up. So like the Deshaun Kaiser year, when you could just tell at halftime we're giving up, we're not even trying this, or I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to experience this much pain anymore. I'm sick of it. Yeah. Yeah, so I'd probably pay the $10. And then on top of that, you've got other games like, if the Ravens or if the Steelers have a game that I need to watch that starts getting more interesting towards the end of the year, I might watch for $10 in the morning and maybe $10 in the afternoon if I really want to have that. Right? So they can make money. I don't know. Would you pay $10?
Yeah. I mean, here Max Nikolenko says I watch it on NFL app for free. Is that true?
Max, tell us about that. If you're watching on the NFL app for free, like, tell us how you're doing that. Is it like is
Do
it
you have
like,
to pay for the app?
or are you at it? Are you it's in Europe? So if you're in Europe, you can have the NFL Game Pass. If you're a Verizon customer, it used to be NFL Game Pass in Europe. You get all the games live like in your Game Pass app. So he's got the Browns set as his home team. Yahoo app streams some of the games for free as well. Yeah.
Yeah, here it's a Washington game, and I'm in Delaware, like 2 hours away from Washington, and they don't have it. They put the Raiders on, and they put somebody else on. Maybe the Eagles were on, which would make sense, but still, I was hoping it was going to be a local game here, and it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised. And I usually don't get the Browns locally unless we're playing like a Florida-based team. So like when they come to Jacksonville, obviously we'll get that. But we might end up going to that game if you're down here feeling all right. And,
Right.
if we can get seats that are decent, right? I think that's a winnable game too, the Jacksonville game. But it'll also be a little bit later in the season. So we'll be able to see like, hey, do we want to invest our own physical money into going to see the game in an away stadium? I've seen the Browns play away so many times over the last 20 years. I think it's time that we need to make a trek up to First Energy at some point and actually go home to Mecca and watch the Browns play a game, right?
Yeah, well, hopefully if there was a meaningful one, that'd be nice to do.
Yeah, I was talking to, I don't know if you caught when I was talking to Cam on the pregame show, asking him about if we ever made it to Super Bowl, would you want to go or would you want to be at home in Cleveland? He's like, no, I'd want to go. He's like, I'd want to be there. But he used to be a season ticket holder and all that kind of stuff. And that's really the key. It's like, if we can get if we had a playoff game in Cleveland, in the cold, in January in Cleveland, I think that would be an experience. Freezing your butt off in Cleveland, watching us play in the playoffs could be a special feeling. But here's the reality. Looking at how the AFC is shaping up right now, I mean, it's not looking like we're probably going to get a home game because you got undefeated teams, Bills, Chiefs, Steelers, Ravens, Titans. And we're 2-1. So yes, technically it's not impossible, but you have to be the top two teams in the league to get a home game. Although I guess the wild card game, it still would go to even if you don't have the best record, like to have the bye, you still have to like win the division typically. I don't know what it's going to be this year with the new expanded playoffs, right? So it could be technically, I don't know. I have to do some more research on that. Chat, keep me honest on that. What are the odds of us getting a home playoff game? That'd be pretty crazy. So yeah, guys, I mean, I'm happy. I was talking to Rustano, tell him I feel like music sounds better. I feel like food tastes better. I feel like everything is golden in life when the Browns win on Sunday. And it's almost like such a rare experience. When you're getting six wins a year, that means 6 Sundays a year we get to experience happiness. And this is one of them. Now, I think we still are going to win 9, possibly 10 games this year. This will be a really good test next week against the Cowboys to see what we can do. We've talked about this already, but I think that we are a team that could give us several more of those happy feelings, the happy victory Monday, all that kind of good stuff, right? So we'll see. All right, guys, let's do the last one. Let's do the Sabo Sabo Apparel. Let's go do that giveaway. 1 to 100 Sabo. That's Zabo. Now. Go ahead and type it in chat there, guys. I got my number in. So we will be good to go. Oh, man, I got to tell you. Happy game. I made some fresh guac today, so we went in with the guac. Feeling pretty good about that. Baby stayed asleep the whole time.
I think Thursday night is a terrible game. I forget who's playing now, but two teams that don't give you much excitement.
Let's look to see who plays on Thursday.
So we got to wait a whole another week to catch up on after the Monday night game, which is going to be a Super Bowl preview.
The Thursday game this week is on the first is the Jets Broncos in. Yeah. I remember I saw that commercial. I'm like, Jets Broncos. My gosh.
Yeah. Not good.
Yeah, not good. Who's the Monday tomorrow is Chiefs Ravens.
Right. Yeah, that's big.
Oh God, I hope the Chiefs can win. That would be big. It's in Baltimore as well. So if the Chiefs can go in there and really just demoralize the Ravens, because that's really the team the Ravens think that they have to beat. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So they got to beat them.
Well, they got to beat Pittsburgh too, but I think Pittsburgh is beatable. They haven't played anybody really tough.
Right.
So they got their toughest part of the schedule in front of them like we do too. But hopefully, we hang in there and we make it a competitive season, and we have playoff hopes alive. I don't think we'll win the conference, but which would have been the goal at the beginning. But stranger things have happened. We didn't lose a key player today. I didn't hear a lot other than Chase Young going down. I didn't see throughout the league, stuff coming across the ticker that said that they're losing quarterbacks or big defensive players or whatever. So maybe this will be a normal week as far as injuries are concerned.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my number now. It looks like we got enough time. It was number 3. So I went pretty deep with who was the first number? 88. It was 88, and the last one was 3. So the winner looks like it's Kova.
Kova 6.
I believe Kova with the win. So Kova wins. Kova, send me an email, browniepostgame@gmail.com. And if you can just remember, just say, hey, it's the Sabo one. So we got Kova with the Sabo, and we got Junior who won the homage shirt. So yay, good stuff. All right, guys. So that's it for today. Good show, good win. Congratulations all around. Thank you again to Cleveland Cam earlier. Thank you to Tim Ali Realty. Thank you to Homage. Thank you to Sabo Apparel for hooking us up with some cool stuff. All of that, awesome. Browns win. We're 2-1. Everybody hit the like. Before you leave, just please hit the like button for me. Appreciate that. Maybe even leave a comment afterwards. That would be excellent. So like the comment or like the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, so you can do that. Make sure you hit the little bell icon as well so you know when we're going live. We go live pre and post every game, unless we're there, which may be the Jacksonville, but we're going to go pre and post every game. Right. You also get all my cool Brownie post-game hype videos and all that kind of good stuff as well. So we're trying to give back to you in terms of t-shirts and in terms of great streaming and video content. Right, so you can't do it unless you're subscribed. Actually, you technically could, but you know what I'm saying. But go ahead and subscribe to the channel, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the love. Dad, thank you again for joining me. Good win.
Thanks, Mike. Take care. Good job. Go Brownies.
Go Browns.